The slap came fast, sharp, loud. The sound cut through the store like a gunshot. "Don't touch that." Every head turned. Marcus froze with his hands still hovering in the air, fingers inches from the polished glass counter. He blinked once, slowly, trying to process what had just happened. His skin still burned where her palm had struck him. The store owner stood in front of him, chest lifted, jaw tight, eyes full of disgust. She didn't look surprised. She looked offended, like he had crossed a line. "I said don't touch," she repeated, louder this time. "This isn't a flea market." A few customers shifted uncomfortably. One woman gasped. Two employees behind the counter exchanged glances and smirked. Marcus lowered his hand. "I wasn't," he began calmly. She cut him off instantly. "You were reaching. And I don't allow people to handle merchandise unless they're serious buyers." Marcus met her eyes. "I am serious. I was asking about the price." She laughed, short and sharp. "The price?" Her eyes flicked over him. His simple jacket, clean but unbranded shoes, no watch flashing on his wrist. "You don't need the price. If you have to ask, you can't afford it." One of the employees snorted before pretending to cough. Marcus felt the heat rise in his chest, but his voice stayed steady. "You didn't have to slap me." "Oh, please," she snapped. "Don't play victim. You people always do that." The words hung in the air. The store went silent. Marcus looked around. Phones were out now. Someone was recording. No one said a word in his defense. No one told her she'd gone too far. He took a slow breath. "I just wanted to buy a gift," he said. "That's all." She stepped closer, invading his space. "Then buy it somewhere else. I won't have my staff watching you like a hawk all day." One of the employees nodded eagerly. "Yeah, we've had issues before." Marcus turned toward him. "Issues with who?" The employee shrugged. "You know." The owner crossed her arms. "I'm asking you to leave before I call security." Marcus looked at her hand, the same one she'd used to strike him. Then he looked back at her face. "Is this how you treat all your customers?" he asked quietly. "Only the ones who don't belong here." That did it. Marcus nodded once. Not angry, not loud, just resolved. "All right," he said. "I'm leaving." As he walked toward the door, the owner called after him. "And don't come back. We know your type." The bell above the door chimed as he stepped outside. The street noise swallowed him whole. He stopped just outside the glass, hands in his pockets, staring back at the store sign. The name was etched in gold lettering, bold and proud. Inside, the owner was already laughing with her staff, replaying the moment like a joke. She really thought he was about to steal something, one employee said, shaking his head. "The way he reached like that." "I don't care," the owner replied. "I've built this place from nothing. I won't let anyone ruin it." Marcus turned away. He didn't say a word. That night, he sat alone in his apartment, the city lights glowing through the window. He loosened his tie and dropped his phone on the table. The screen lit up with notifications. Emails, documents, signatures. He scrolled slowly. The acquisition had already been approved. The board vote was unanimous. The final transfer was scheduled for midnight. He leaned back in his chair, exhaling. His phone buzzed again. Everything ready. The message read. "By morning, it's official." Marcus stared at the ceiling. The slap replayed in his mind. The laughter. The silence. The way no one had stepped in. He didn't feel anger anymore. He felt clarity. Before we go further, take 1 second. Tap the like button. Subscribe if you enjoy justice stories like this, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Trust me, you'll want to stay till the end. The next morning, the store buzzed with energy. The owner strutted behind the counter, heels clicking confidently against the floor. "Let's have a good day, people. Corporate's been breathing down my neck lately, so no mistakes." "Yes, ma'am," the employees chimed. The doors opened. Marcus walked in. Silence fell instantly. One employee whispered, "Isn't that the guy from yesterday?" The owner looked up, eyes narrowing. "You've got some nerve coming back here." Marcus didn't respond. He didn't rush. He walked calmly, stopping at the center of the store. Behind him, 2 men in suits entered. Then a woman carrying a folder thick with documents. The owner scoffed. "Oh, what is this? You bringing backup now?" Marcus turned to face her fully. "No," he said calmly. "I'm bringing clarity." Her smile faltered, just a little. "You've got 5 seconds before I call security," she snapped. Marcus met her eyes. "Go ahead," he said. "They report to me now." The store froze. "What did you just say?" she demanded. Marcus reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded document. "My name is Marcus Hale," he said evenly. "As of 12:01 this morning, I became the majority owner of this store." The color drained from her face. "That's not funny," she said. "This is harassment." The woman beside Marcus stepped forward. "Ma'am, this is a formal notice of ownership transfer." The owner grabbed the paper with shaking hands. No, this isn't." Marcus spoke again, his voice calm but heavy. "Yesterday, you slapped my hand." The room felt smaller. "You humiliated me," he continued. "Today, we're going to talk about that." The owner laughed, but the sound cracked halfway through. "You think you can walk in here and say nonsense like that?" she said. "I built this store. I own this store." Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't move closer. He let the silence do the work. "Did you read page 3? He asked. Her eyes dropped back to the document in her hands. Her lips moved as she scanned the text. One of the employees leaned forward, trying to read over her shoulder. "What does it say?" he whispered. The woman with the folder spoke calmly. "It states that as of midnight, all operational authority, staffing decisions, and management control now belong to Mr. Hale." The owner's face tightened. "This is fake." "It's filed," the woman replied, "with your signature from last quarter's contingency clause." The owner's mouth opened, then closed. Marcus watched her carefully. Yesterday, she'd enjoyed every second of power. Today, it was slipping through her fingers, and she could feel it. "You can't just fire people," she snapped suddenly, turning to the staff. "Don't listen to him. This is intimidation." Marcus finally stepped forward. "I don't need intimidation," he said. "I have records." He turned to the employees. "Yesterday, I was slapped in this store. Does anyone here want to say that didn't happen?" No one spoke. He nodded. "Does anyone want to say they tried to stop it?" A few employees looked down at their shoes. Marcus exhaled slowly. "That's what I thought." The owner crossed her arms, trying to regain control. "Even if this is real, you can't just come in and start acting like a king." Marcus tilted his head. "Funny," he said. "Yesterday, you didn't seem to think power needed permission." One of the younger employees shifted nervously. "Ma'am, maybe we should hear him out." She whipped her head around. "Stay in your place." Marcus looked at the employee. "You don't have to." He turned back to the owner. "Let's start with something simple. Why did you slap my hand?" She scoffed. "Because you were touching merchandise without permission. I was asking about the price." "You were reaching." "So was the woman next to me," Marcus replied calmly. "Did you slap her?" Silence. "You looked at me," he continued, "and decided I didn't belong." "That's not." "You said people like you." Marcus cut in. "Do you remember that?" The owner's face flushed. "You're twisting my words." Marcus pulled out his phone. Good thing someone didn't twist the video. He tapped the screen. The sound of the slap echoed through the store speakers. Gasps rippled through the room. Her voice followed. Sharp, dismissive, cruel. One employee covered her mouth. The owner lunged forward. "Turn that off." Marcus stopped at himself. "You see," he said quietly, "I didn't come back for revenge. I came back for accountability." The employees exchanged uneasy looks. The laughter from yesterday felt distant now, embarrassing. Marcus turned to one of them, the same one who had laughed. "You," he said. "What was funny about it?" The man swallowed. I didn't mean." "You laughed," Marcus said. "Why?" The man's voice shook. "Because everyone else was." Marcus nodded. "That's how it usually works." He turned to the group. "This store has paid out 3 discrimination settlements in the last 18 months. Did you know that?" The owner's head snapped up. "That's confidential." "It was," Marcus said. "Now it's my responsibility." The room buzzed with whispers. Marcus continued. Complaints ignored. HR reports buried. Employees warned not to speak up. He looked directly at the owner. "You created this culture." She shook her head wildly. "This is a setup. You planned this." Marcus smiled faintly. "No, you did. Yesterday." He gestured toward the counter. "Let's talk consequences." The owner straightened. "You can't fire me." Marcus looked at her like she'd just said something naive. "I can," he said. "And I will." Her voice dropped. "You think people will respect you after this?" Marcus paused. "Respect isn't what I'm after." He turned to the employees again. "If anyone here feels uncomfortable speaking, you can step outside." 2 employees hesitated, then slowly walked toward the door. The owner shouted, "Sit down." Marcus raised a hand. "They don't answer to you anymore." That broke her. "You can't do this to me," she screamed. "This store is my life." Marcus met her eyes. So was my dignity. The room fell into a heavy silence. Marcus opened a folder. Effective immediately, your employment is terminated due to gross misconduct. Her breath caught. You're serious. I was serious yesterday too, he replied. You weren't. Security appeared at the door, not the kind she expected. They nodded at Marcus. Her knees buckled slightly. This isn't over. Marcus leaned in just enough for her to hear. For you? It is. As she was escorted out, the employees stood frozen. Marcus turned back to them. This isn't about punishment, he said. It's about change. Before we continue, if stories like this keep you watching, make sure you're subscribed, hit like, and stay with us. The biggest moments are still ahead. He looked around the store once more. Now, Marcus said calmly, let's clean house. The door closed behind her with a hollow thud. For a long moment, no one moved. The store felt different now, like the air had shifted. Yesterday's confidence had evaporated, replaced by quiet fear. Marcus broke the silence. Anyone who wants to walk out right now can, he said calmly. No penalty. No questions. No one moved. All right, Marcus continued. Then we're going to talk. He turned to the employee who had whispered and laughed the loudest the day before. What's your name? Evan. The man said, barely audible. Evan, Marcus repeated. How long have you worked here? 2 years. In those 2 years, Marcus asked, how many times have you seen customers treated the way I was treated? Evan swallowed. More than once. And how many times did you speak up? Evan's eyes dropped. None. Marcus nodded slowly. Why? Because, Evan said, his voice cracking. Every time someone did, they got cut from shifts or fired. The room shifted. A few employees exchanged looks. Marcus turned to a woman near the register. Is that true? She hesitated, then nodded. Yes. Another employee spoke up. I saw it happen. Twice. Marcus let the silence stretch. This is what silence protects, he said quietly. He walked toward the counter and rested his hands on it, the same counter where his hand had been slapped. Yesterday, Marcus said, you all watched someone cross a line. Some of you laughed. Some of you recorded. Most of you said nothing. He looked up. I don't blame fear. I blame comfort. A young cashier raised her hand slightly. Sir, I wanted to say something. I really did. Marcus looked at her. What stopped you? She told me I was lucky to even have this job, the cashier said, tears welling. I didn't want to lose it. Marcus nodded. Thank you for being honest. He turned to the woman with the folder. Document that. She wrote quickly. Marcus straightened. Anyone who has been harassed, threatened, or punished for speaking up, today is your chance. One employee spoke. Then another. Story spilled out. A customer called a slur. The owner laughed. A manager shoved someone during a rush. Nothing happened. An employee reported discrimination. Their hours vanished. Each story tightened the knot in the room. Marcus listened to every word without interrupting. Finally, he spoke. This ends today. He turned to Evan again. Yesterday you laughed. Evan's face flushed. I know. Do you understand why that matters? Yes, Evan said. Because it made her feel right. Marcus nodded. Exactly. He paused. Pack your things. Evan's eyes widened. Wait. This isn't about cruelty, Marcus said. It's about accountability. Evan's shoulders slumped as he walked away. 2 more employees were addressed. Both had actively supported the owner's behavior. Both were dismissed quietly. No yelling. No drama. Just consequences. The rest of the staff stood straighter now. Some wiped tears. Some nodded to themselves. Marcus turned to them. For those who stay, understand this. Power doesn't protect you here. Character does. He stepped back and glanced around the store. Now, he said, let's talk about yesterday. The cashier spoke again. Sir, when she slapped your hand, why didn't you say anything? Marcus thought for a moment. Because I didn't need to. The room was silent. People reveal themselves when they think there are no consequences, he continued. I let her speak. An employee asked quietly. Did you already own the store then? Marcus shook his head. No, but I knew I would. That sent a murmur through the room. He continued. I was evaluating this place long before yesterday. Yesterday just confirmed what needed to be done. A man near the back spoke up. What happens to us now? Marcus met his eyes. You rebuild. The door opened. The former owner stood there, flanked by security, her face twisted with fury. You think this makes you a hero? She shouted. They'll turn on you too. Marcus didn't raise his voice. You were warned to leave. She laughed bitterly. You think money makes you powerful? Marcus walked closer, not threatening, just firm. No, he said. It makes consequences unavoidable. Security guided her away again, this time without resistance. The door closed. Marcus turned back to the staff. This is your workplace now. He gestured toward the counter. And it starts with respect. He paused. If you're still watching, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment below, because stories like this remind us that silence is a choice, and so is courage. Marcus took a breath. Tomorrow, he said, new management training begins. HR will be on site. Anonymous reporting goes live immediately. He looked at the cashier who had spoken up. You'll be promoted. Her eyes widened. Me? You spoke when it mattered, Marcus said. That's leadership. Tears streamed down her face. Marcus stepped back, letting the moment settle. Outside, the gold-lettered sign was already being removed. Inside, something new was taking its place. The sound of the drill outside cut through the store. Metal against metal. The old sign came loose. Everyone inside felt it, even without looking. Marcus watched the employees' faces as they listened. Some looked relieved. Others looked scared. A few looked ashamed. Change is uncomfortable, Marcus said, especially when you benefited from the old system. No one argued. A man near the shelves cleared his throat. Sir, are we all safe? Marcus met his eyes. That depends on what you choose next. The man nodded slowly. Marcus turned to the woman with the folder. Bring in HR. 2 more people entered. Calm, professional, neutral. The atmosphere shifted again. This is not a witch hunt, Marcus said to the staff. It's a reset. He walked slowly across the floor. If you stayed silent out of fear, you'll be trained. If you stayed silent out of comfort, you'll be evaluated. A murmur rippled through the room. The cashier spoke again. What about customers who saw what happened yesterday? Marcus nodded. They'll hear from us. He pulled out his phone and read aloud. Public apology. Policy change. Zero tolerance. An employee whispered. She never apologized for anything. Marcus looked up. That's why she's gone. One of the older employees crossed his arms. You're calm for someone who was humiliated. Marcus paused. Calm is a choice, he said. So is cruelty. The man nodded, ashamed. The HR representative stepped forward. We'll begin interviews now. Employees were called one by one. As they stepped aside, Marcus stood alone near the counter again. The same counter. The same spot. A flash of yesterday crossed his face, brief, controlled. The door opened again. The former owner's voice echoed from outside. You can't erase me. Everyone turned. She stood at the edge of the store, hair disheveled, eyes wild. This place was nothing before me. Marcus didn't move. You slapped me, he said calmly. That was your legacy. She laughed hysterically. They'll forget you. Marcus nodded. Maybe, but they'll remember how they were treated. Security escorted her away for the last time. The cashier whispered. She looks small. Marcus replied quietly. Power leaves fast when it was never earned. Hours passed. Employees left with boxes. Some stayed. The store felt lighter with every departure. Marcus addressed the remaining staff. This isn't redemption, he said. It's responsibility. He turned toward the front windows. Tomorrow, we open under new values. One employee raised a hand. Why didn't you expose her online instead? Marcus shook his head. Viral outrage fades. Structure lasts. He stepped back. I didn't want likes. I wanted change. The HR lead approached. We're done for today. Marcus nodded. He turned to the staff one last time. Go home. Rest. As they left, the cashier lingered. Sir? Marcus, she said softly. Yesterday. I'm sorry. Marcus met her eyes. Thank you for saying it today. She smiled weakly and left. Marcus stood alone in the store. The counter gleamed. The door closed. He reached out and placed his hand on the glass. No slap. No judgment. Just quiet. The next morning, customers gathered outside. The new sign hung proudly. Marcus stood just inside the door. The cashier, now supervisor, opened the store. A woman stepped in hesitantly. Is this the place where? Yes, Marcus said. And it's not that place anymore. She nodded and smiled. More customers entered. Respect returned. Marcus watched quietly. Justice didn't need noise. By midday, the store felt like a different world. Customers moved freely, unafraid of being watched too closely. Conversations sounded lighter. Laughter didn't feel forced anymore. Marcus stood near the back, observing quietly. A man approached the counter and asked about a product. The supervisor answered politely, even offering to let him inspect it up close. No tension, no suspicion. Marcus felt something settle in his chest. The supervisor caught his eye and smiled. It feels normal now. Marcus nodded. That's how it's supposed to feel. A woman nearby whispered to her friend, "This is the store that went viral yesterday." Marcus heard it. He didn't react. The door opened again. The former owner stood across the street, watching. No yelling this time. No threats. Just disbelief. Marcus walked outside. She stiffened when she saw him. "You win," she said bitterly. Marcus stopped a few feet away. "This was never a competition." "You humiliated me," she snapped. Marcus met her gaze. "You humiliated yourself." Her voice dropped. "You planned this." "No," Marcus said calmly. "You revealed yourself." She scoffed. "People like you always pretend to be better." Marcus tilted his head slightly. "Better isn't the goal," he said. "Fair is." She looked away, defeated. Marcus turned and walked back inside. The door closed behind him. Inside, the supervisor asked quietly, "Was that her?" "Yes." "What did she say?" Marcus paused. Nothing that matters anymore. As the day went on, employees adjusted. Mistakes were corrected gently. Questions were answered without fear. At closing time, Marcus gathered the staff. "I won't always be here," he said. "But what we build now should last." He looked around. "If you ever feel tempted to stay silent when something is wrong, remember yesterday." They nodded. Marcus took one last look around the store before leaving. The counter, the door, the space where power once lived without accountability. Outside, the city moved on. Marcus walked away without turning back. Respect didn't need an audience. And before you leave too, take a second, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below where you're watching from. Stories like this don't just entertain, they remind us that dignity always comes back around.